Hi, everyone. It is July 7th, 2024. Prepare, it's going to get worse. Yeah, well, I hope those of you who have resources um, are stocked up because things are, shall I say, well, not good. Not good. And a whole lot of people are already dying. Do you know that I saw this tweet on the amount of people who died via, that 2020 product? 35 million. 35 million. And I think it's a lot more, actually. How many have been disabled? How many are dying from all of the poisons and the electromagnetic frequencies and the GMOs and medications put on the market as safe? So we have an awful lot of, unfortunately, very disabled, not well Americans. And there's a lot of people who are posting, well, I can't say a lot, but I've seen videos of people posting on how Americans are so not prepared for what is coming. And I agree. I agree. I think this evil is going to be so unprecedented that it's going to shock the core of an awful lot of people. But on that note, let me say hello, Sandra. Hi. Analog Synth Player, Step Down, Andrew Cruz, Dude, D. Moore, Barb, James B., Crazy Potts, Justin Wynn, Mark Anthony, Alicia DeMoss, Rage Against the Machine. Hello. Hi, everybody. And Amber I, Sith Trish, Super Dave 44, Steve Ladner, and Lori Rose. A Lori Rose. Yes, I know. I know. And hell, a lot of people are dying via suicide. A lot of people are dying via murder. Yeah. Oh, how about those mass shootings that go on every single day? Every single day. So let's check out radar. Oh, we have Hurricane Beryl. That apparently is going to be making landfall in Galveston in just a wee short while. But you can see the evidence of electromagnetic frequencies in use. Let me see if I can I zoom in? No, I can't do that. You see how defined is this right here of this so-called hurricane? That's an electromagnetic frequency hit, right? And then you have the gap, and then you have the bands. And then you have an awful lot of supercells that have ignited up here where they have a tendency to ignite up in the Lubbock, Texas area. And I think that they're going to join these storms with the hurricane because they claim that this hurricane, well, it's going to be going right on up, affecting an awful lot of states. Hurricanes, they didn't do that before, but now they do. Now they do. So, let me go back to radar. It's really sad what is happening. It's depleting, it's despairing, it's everything, and yeah. So the outer bands. Now, apparently, these are outer bands of the hurricane. Really? Okay. Wow. hurricanes sure have a lot of outer bands now. You see how defined this is right here on the top. This is not a hurricane. This is a man-made contraption for destruction. For destruction. Very defined. And in fact, I should have taken a capture of it because it was a rectangle. It was a rectangle. And I think, yeah, it's gone. But you can see how this is not a hurricane. Nor is it a tropical storm, but it's not a tropical storm. They just recently claimed, oh, it's not a tropical storm, it is a hurricane. It could be a hurricane category 2 hitting Galveston, and if that actually, continues. But I've also seen a lot of these meteorologists talk about how, well, it has slowed down and it's in the Gulf, and the Gulf's waters are warm, and that's going to lead to intensification. Believe the horseshit that you hear. Americans, don't ever look into weather modification, okay? Oh, we wouldn't want to disturb your comfort. Look at how defined this is. No. So apparently, Beaumont and other areas of Texas are already getting an awful lot of rain. Look at this. I mean, it looks like a square. No, I'm sorry. It is not a hurricane. It's not a hurricane. Look at this. It's like a frequency hit this and sheared it. Sheared the top of it. Which frequencies can do. All right, so yeah, we've got the supercell ignition going on in Georgia, going on in upstate South Carolina, North Carolina, Missouri, Illinois, South Dakota. Look at all of the different air mass directions that these things are zooming around. I mean, it's so... I mean, sometimes I look at radar and I get dizzy. It's like, which way is the air mass moving? But no, I'm sorry. This is a man-made so-called hurricane that no doubt will bring quite a lot of destruction. So even with these supercells, well, I should refresh before I say anything, but they expired. Okay, so no tornadoes, but we've got severe weather in Colorado, in Georgia, in Iowa, in Louisiana, in Nebraska, in New Mexico, in Oklahoma, in South Carolina, and Texas. Yep, this is... It's all about climate change. It's all about, now I guess we're going to go back to global warming because of the heat dome, right? How many heat domes have we had this year? All right, so welcome to a lying life. All of those newborns. Welcome to the world of utter lying madness. All right, let me just show you what's been going on. So this is the California wildfires. All right, we've got the fires in Placerville. We've got I can't even remember the names of these fires. Well, so the Pay Fire, and evacuations with them.
Whipping winds and blistering heat tonight, fueling yet another massive fire in California. The lake fire in Santa Barbara County exploding to more than 12,000 acres with no containment, prompting evacuation warnings in the popular wine tasting region this holiday weekend. Flames seen just half a mile from the famous Neverland Ranch. The inferno among 18 burning statewide. The National Guard rescuing a firefighter who got trapped battling the basin fire outside Fresno. All this happening amid a dangerous coast-to-coast heat wave. Palm Springs hitting a record high Friday of 124 degrees.
The temperatures just keep going up. It just seems to be increasingly worse and worse each year.
Nationwide, historic heat scorching places like Las Vegas, which could tie its record of 117 degrees on Sunday. Raleigh, North Carolina, just reached its record high of 106. And back in the West, Death Valley set to hit an astonishing 128, the hottest place in the country.
When you step out in these extreme temperatures, it's like stepping out into an oven.
Sweltering temperatures of 118 also baking Phoenix.
See, global warming is back. Kim Blanchard asks for prayers for her family, friends, and herself. Beryl, the hurricane, is heading towards us, and we have no idea what these creeps will do with this system. I do have a number of subscribers in Texas, but in this area of Texas, and yeah, I'm not happy about it. I really hope that you stay safe. Kim, Miss Blanche, is heading back to Arkansas from Florida. The traffic has been bumper to bumper the whole way home. Well, it's Sunday, July 4th weekend. Just thinking. My hunch is that it might not have to do with the weather. I don't know. So it's between the fires and the hurricanes and the hailstorms and the severe weather. Do you know that we've had thousands of Americans who have lost their homes just in the last couple of months? Thousands. Go back and check. That's how much severe weather that we've had with the tornadoes and the flooding. 45% containment of the French fire in Mariposa.
Santa Barbara County, the lake fire has scorched more than 13,000 acres. It started Friday afternoon in the Los Padres National Forest. Evacuation orders are in place for the surrounding areas as excessive heat warnings are in effect. The cause is still under investigation. Now you can see.
Okay, lots of fires in California. Evacuations underway in El Dorado County due to the Pay Fire.
Power line near where that fire started, but it's unclear if those power lines had anything to do with this fire sparking. Now, here's a live look at the scene right now. You can see the smoke coming up from that tree, those trees over there. Our photojournalist Steve Garcia is right near where the fire is. He was evacuated from the Placer Verde Airport earlier. Steve, what can you tell us about this fire right now?
Yeah, Brady, I got to the airport. I left the airport maybe about 10-15 minutes ago, and I was told by CHP to quickly evacuate. People who own hangars and planes at the airport basically fled like I fled down the hill. Now I'm off of Cedar Ridge Drive, and as you can see, plumes of smoke is billowing the sky right now.
Okay, so the Placerville Airport was damaged by this fire. More evacuations are taking place, and we're not seeing the kind of fires that we did in the recent years. My hunch is that they're just going to start smaller fires, and there's not going to be a lot of press. Well, there will be in California, but there won't be a lot of press. It's not going to be, and I hope, I could be dead wrong on another Paradise fire, taking out in 24 hours how many you know, tens of thousands of homes, the entire town, killing an awful lot of people. But it wasn't just paradise. I mean, a lot of fires in California, a lot of fires all over the world. Power outages, flooding imminent as Beryl approaches Texas coast.
Again, you and I have talked, and this is not something foreign to those folks who live on the Gulf. What's the latest guidance from officials? Has anything changed in the past 24 hours?
You know, there have been at least 2 other mandatory evacuation orders for 2 municipalities. And so there's about 3 now. The rest of it still remains voluntary, but they are really stressing, look, you're running out of time to prepare. Now is the time to have everything ready to go. If you want to leave, then you should leave, and you should have prepared your homes and go further inland. But the other problem is inland, Adrian, is that, you know, they're going to have significant flooding. They're going to have significant rain events. That is what they are predicting. And then they are still worried that people are in vacation mode, right? Because it's this holiday weekend. They're still worried that people may not be heeding those warnings. But I will say, you know, just driving in here today, way more cars are passing us on the way out than as we drive in. And I want to describe to you, I think we have a part of an interview from a resident here as she lives here. She came up to us asking if she should leave or if she should stay. Again, this area under voluntary evacuation, not mandatory. And here's what she describes, knowing how she's seen the road and the bridge and the causeway leading out to the beach flood. Take a listen if we have it.
And it really comes right up to this house behind me and extends almost down to the other houses on Beach Road where the road is completely covered. It's pretty impressive to see all this green become all water, and that's what it's going to look like. Is everything from here to the bridge will be water, and then you'll have the intercoastal, and even between my house and the intercoastal, which is normally dry land, will be full of water.
Thank you for watching.
No, you're welcome. All right, so Beryl is about to do something crazy. Yes. All right, I'm going to post a link if you want to watch it. This was about 10 hours ago, 12 hours ago. But isn't it interesting, especially from the YouTube meteorologists who are always saying, wow, Beryl is about to do something interesting. Oh my God. Significant changes within the last hour. I foresee a whole lot of flooding, not just for Texas, not just for southeast Texas, but on up. You see the outer bands? The outer bands. Well, earlier you had the supercells, which looked like they were saturating the Dallas region. And the outer bands are already in Louisiana. Look at this. Look at all of these supercells that are, the air mass is traveling south from, what is that, North Carolina into Georgia and South Carolina. Which direction is this going? North, east. What direction is this going? This supercell down here in Georgia. Oh, it's going north, and it's just going to meet up with this traveling south. All right? That's not Mother Nature. That's electromagnetic frequencies that they are using to manipulate the air masses. So, Beryl is about to do something crazy. Yeah, well, and Beryl, they have this forecasted to go through quite a lot of states. That's not, remember? Okay, guys, do you remember? Do you remember those hurricanes that we in the Northeast would watch you guys in the South get slammed? they didn't make it on up to the Northeast. But what do I know? What do I know? Residents in southwest Austin get cars flooded after Saturday's street floods.
The supplies many are after, just 24 hours before a possible beatdown from Beryl.
Always ready for a storm. I live on the bayou, so anytime it rains, I'm ready for the floods and the power to be out.
We found Ed Meek at his local hardware store, looking for parts to tune up his generator.
Putting a little bit, some thin wood on the windows just to keep the debris from breaking the glass, and I put stuff up that's going to blow away, secure it, so the wind doesn't get it and you have to chase it down the road.
Lots of rain also expected when Beryl blows through. Houstonians getting a taste of that this afternoon. Water rising quickly in parts of West U, stranding cars. The same story in Montrose.
So that was Saturday. Had more rain today. How about FEMA? FEMA home inspections?
FEMA is reminding people affected by recent wildfires and flooding of the next steps after filing for assistance. The agency says home inspections may be necessary to make sure a home is safe and livable. Inspectors will be contacting applicants to arrange meetups at homes. FEMA says people should make sure to authorize another adult to act as an agent if people have evacuated and cannot return. Applicants should tell inspectors about any disaster-related needs, and FEMA says a typical home inspection will take around 45 minutes and should allow up to 10 days for an inspection to be processed. Now, for more...
Oh, they just want to make sure that you're safe. Because you as an adult, well, you don't know. You need daddy government to go in and give you approval or disapproval. Florida windmill ban goes into effect along with text removing climate change.
Here tonight to our new in-depth reporting here, and renewable energies are an emerging sector for clean energy, but industry leaders worry that a new ban on windmills just signed by Governor Ron DeSantis is now turning the land of sunshine into a state of climate deniers. ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska with the potential impact of this new Florida law on the environment and the economy.
Currently, Florida has 0 windmills anywhere in the state that's on land or offshore, and experts tell me there's a reason why. We just don't have enough steady, sustained winds to justify the cost, and the return on investment isn't there. But experts tell me the technology is constantly evolving, and one day it will be a reliable clean energy source.
We've gone from 0 employees to nearly 150. We see tremendous growth across the United States.
Henry Kelly is the co-founder of Blue Wind Technology. His Pensacola factory makes parts for windmills. Because of our new law, Kelly tells me Florida is becoming a global punchline in the wind industry.
When I went to this wind show specifically for wind in Europe about a month ago, showed my company name, Pensacola, Florida, and people go, "Oh, Florida, you guys just outlawed the wind." Great. Thank you for putting me on the defensive from the word go.
Republican.
It's not a reliable source of energy. It is not a reliable source of energy, and climate change is. It's a cult. It has become a religious cult with an awful lot of people bowing down. I've got to save the planet, the virtue signalers. Yeah, all you have to do is do a little bit of research to find out that that's actually true. That the science, that they, oh, you're a science denier. No. The science behind climate change is made up. Made up. 3 minutes ago, tragedy in Russia. Hurricane Orkan tore through a train station. I didn't know Russia got hurricanes, but I guess now they do.
July 5th, 2024. Published footage of how the city was hit by a destructive disaster. Hurricane Arkan first hit east of the Moscow region. Because of the strong wind, a whirlwind appeared. At 15, the storm came very close to Moscow. It entered the capital from the southeast, and gradually heavy rain began to fall throughout the city. Near the Elektrozavodskaya station, strong wind scattered metal sheets along the railway tracks.
And of course, hailstorms, that's their hurricane. Okay, I'll post the link. There's more. Just damage, destruction, weather warfare. That's what we've got going. Yeah. China obliterated by, 6 tornadoes in one day.
A series of powerful tornadoes ripped through China's eastern Shandong province on July 5th, 2024, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. The most impacted areas were in Dongbing County, where the storm...
The link is in the chat. There's more. Didn't know China was known for its tornadoes. 6 in one day. Things are definitely changing. Oh, it's climate change. Oh, God, I keep forgetting. Train derailment, North Dakota.
That's where we're going to start, in North Dakota, where a freight train derailed and burst into flames. Check this out. Fire crews responded to the scene just outside of Carrington, which is about 2 hours west of Fargo, around 3:45 this morning. The man who shot this video says he believes as many as 30 cars went up in flames following the derailment. That has not been confirmed by officials, but according to radio scanner traffic, a hazmat team has also been dispatched to the scene. The cause of the derailment, not yet known. Dave?
Hazmat
hey, that's where we
conditions,
start,
but
in North.
Another broadcaster said, you have nothing to worry about. Breathing that in, it's perfectly safe. Another train derailment. New Jersey house catches fire after a massive tree crashes into bedroom. Do you know how many apartment complexes, how many businesses, how many houses are going up in flames, big flames, like complete destruction, on a daily basis? A lot. Not only do they take us out in very dramatic ways, but in a whole lot of little, not little for the people who have to suffer the consequences, but the little, all over the country, not just in New Jersey, but, unless you're somebody who is interested to find out, you'd never know. A whole lot of people are in a bubble. They're in a bubble. Getting the big picture of how much destruction is going on a daily basis really opens your eyes. Let me open my eyes. It opens your eyes to see the kind of war that we're in. It opens your eyes to a holy shit moment several times a day. It opens your eyes to recognize we are in piss poor shape. Piss poor shape.
A powerful storm in Tenafly, New Jersey may have caused a tree to snap and then smashed right into a family's dream home. This nightmare also sparked a fire, forcing everyone inside to run for their lives. Thankfully, all of them survived, but there's a lot of damage left behind. Here once again is Sonia Rincon.
I knew when I heard it hit that house that, oh my God, one of these big trees came down. I came running out my house, and sure enough, and immediately this house was in flames.
The flames were ripping through the second floor of the house, sending a family of 4 scrambling to safety.
The family was home. Obviously, they heard a large crash, and they were able to evacuate the building very quickly.
No injuries from the collapse or from the firefighting effort, which took about...
Yeah, okay, great. But the house is gone. And yeah, boat gets stuck in tunnel near Los Angeles International Airport. It got stuck in a tunnel for hours. Now, the person transporting that boat should know the height, and then you read the signs coming up to a tunnel, and it's this high. Are people so not paying attention anymore? I think people just don't pay attention.
Time, take a look at this. A huge boat gets stuck in the LAX tunnel on Sepulveda Boulevard. It was headed from the marina in the northbound lane Thursday when it got wedged in from top to bottom. The owner apparently failed to calculate the measurements of the boat and the trailer it was riding on. Yeah, I'd say so. It took hours, by the way, to finally get the boat loose.
All right. The owner, the trucker. Now, my hunch is that the owner hired that truck to transport that mini yacht. Isn't it the trucker's responsibility to make sure that they know the measurements before they enter tunnels? I would think it's the trucker's responsibility. But what do I know? I don't know. I don't think that any trucker would just take the measurements from the owner and say, oh, okay, that's good enough. The state grows by keeping us apart. Yes, the state grows by keeping us apart. And so many people have caved to the state. I'll just play a few minutes. I put the link in.
Surprise guests on that show and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to Jimmy Dore because they don't want to buy it from a second reseller. I really enjoy meeting people.
That's when you find out.
I enjoy doing the shows too. Don't get me wrong; they're fun. I can't believe how in it people are into it.
Yeah, because you're not running for nothing. They're coming to just look. Here's everybody misses.
Oh, I was more interested in Carl Jung's quote, and here. So I'll just back it up to 2 minutes.
That we needed a separation of corporation and state that we didn't get.
That's right.
So now instead of there being a trinity of the church and the corporation state, it's just corporate and state.
It's a corporate state.
We actually lost democracy by kicking the stupid church out. It's unbelievable. Every time everybody falls for this.
Isn't that funny? That's a funny way to look at it. You're right. We need a separation between corporations and state.
Yes.
Just as much as we need a separation between religion and state.
Instead, they formed an entity and they separate you from yourself. You need to have your right and left brain split in half, and that's what they talk about atomization, right?
So put the go full screen on Kurt. I'm going to show you something. So this is what Kurt's talking about. Listen to this. Come to me. Take Kurt off. It says, this is from Carl Jung. The mass state has no intention of promoting mutual understanding and the relationship of man to man. It strives rather for atomization, for the psychic isolation of the individual. The more unrelated individuals are, the more consolidated the state becomes.
Consolidated, yeah.
Consolidated, and vice versa.
It becomes flesh. They drain you like a vampire. They drain you like a vampire, and then the state becomes the entity. You understand?
Yes. That's why I just...
Why do we have a lot of awake people who have caved to that? Why? Because of the social engineers who have been socially engineering everybody? Well, if you understand that, why haven't you socially engineered yourself back into, the human race? Back into your individual statehood, and not let the government state dictate everything. Why are we so conquered here with the division? Bill Gates, the World Economic Forum, even the New York City mayor are plotting to change your diet forever. Okay, it's just a few minutes. And yeah, I really don't care what you think of Tucker Carlson. I don't. It's the truth is far more important than the personality.
What about the guts? I mean, when we fillet a fish, we take out the guts, and that's where a lot of infections are. The parasites or the bacteria are in the gut.
Yeah. Insects have a much smaller gastrointestinal tract, and so it's very easy to purge them. And so a lot of the farms that I know, they purge the guts of the insects. And generally speaking, if we're to talk like on specifically farmed or harvested for human consumption, the risk of pathogens is safe. And so we're doing the best that we can right now with the limited resources that we have in this fledgling industry.
According to researchers, edible insects constitute a, quote, underestimated reservoir of human and animal parasites. One 2019 study looked at 300 household farms and pet stores. It found parasites harmful to human beings in 30% of them. The insects, it should be noted, were not intended for human consumption. There's a difference. But they're still bugs. The same bugs they'd like you to eat.
And bugs have already been introduced into our food supply. All right. Warning, your detox system is under attack. The war on our heroes of detox. This is a Tim Truth video, and the link might be too long. Nope. Made it in. Good. And he talks about, how do we know? All of these people who are selling all of these detox supplements and powders, and how do we know if they're detoxing anything? Some will feel better, but you know what I have observed? That a whole lot of people who detox with whatever it is that they're detoxing, it could be a placebo effect, that they feel better for a little while and then they return to how they were feeling prior to the detox. Same thing with electromagnetic frequencies. A whole lot. have shielded and used the crystals, and they'll say that they feel okay for a little while, and then they're back to their original state. I don't know anyone, and I've spoken to an awful lot of people and heard that they have been doing this and that and the other thing. And then I wait, and eventually what they came back and said was that they're not feeling well. It's hard to stay. Well, let me show you what the sky looked like this morning. I have a couple of captures. Look at this. Now, this was at, I don't know, 4:45, 5 o'clock a.m. You see that pulsating frequencies. You see the microwaves. In what the hell? This dirty mess. This was spread out. Now they use the electromagnetic frequencies to spread it all out so that they can, divvy out all of the poisons to a larger amount of the population. You want to know why Americans are so sick? This is one of the reasons. Look at this. It's absolutely disgusting. Disgusting. And all of the video right there, that was a pulse of a frequency when the camera goes out of focus and then snaps right back into focus. And this was in the front. That was in the back, the video, and this one is in the front. And yes, this is why there's an awful lot of Americans having a whole lot of problems. So then add to that the takeover of our food, where it just doesn't sustain us. This was a little bit later on, maybe, I don't know, 6:30-ish. Yeah. So, when we have an awful lot of people who just don't speak out and want to believe, oh, what a beautiful sunrise. Yeah, they are the people who are our enemies. Great enemy. Because they help to kill off an awful lot of life. Look at how utterly disgusting this is. This is what we're breathing in. And who the hell knows what? See the pulsating frequency, and every pulse hits every cell in your body. Every cell in your body. And this was later on. This is out front. So just showing how they just spread it on out. With the frequencies. No, there was no fire. And no, there are no factories around that you can claim as pollution like they did in Great Barrington, Massachusetts to me. Well, we're in a valley, So there's a lot of pollution that just sits in the valley. Oh, really? Oh, really? How the coming population collapse will change society forever. This is our own Tony Punch. I'll post the link. Click on it, go over and support Tony Punch, his efforts to try to get the word out on Rumble. And the population collapse, I have said this for so long, we do not have a population that is increasing. It is decreasing rapidly. Just what, the Rockefellers, the Bill Gates, the Ted Turners all wanted.
The population collapse is already here.
All of the globalized connections and consumptions that create the world we know, we are at the end of it.
In the US, birth rates have fallen to record lows, with under 1.6 children born per adult woman. In the UK, it's even lower at under 1.5 children. It's not just an isolated problem for the West either. Across the world, developed countries are falling apart under the weight of their own aging populations. As fewer and fewer children are born, the millions of people entering retirement put even more pressure on the rest of the country. And it seems the Western world is in for an incoming population crisis. So what happens when the population eventually collapses? And how did this situation ever get so out of control? Why are people like Elon Musk desperately panicking about the collapse of the population?
People have no idea how fast the population is going to collapse. Basically civilization will die with a whimper and adult diapers.
Well, let's take a peek at what lies ahead for the Western world's future when the population becomes old and countries start shrinking up. Now, lots of people might welcome the idea of a natural population decline at first. Anyone who's ever been stuck in traffic can understand why it might be nice if there were a lot less people. It seemed at one point that there were so many people, all these professors saying that there were too many people on planet Earth, that we were going to extract all the resources from the planet, that humans were a cancer on Earth, causing the world's natural ecosystems to die.
We have lots of environmental problems that currently exist that are being made worse by having lots and lots of people engaging in them.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
There were people everywhere saying they don't want to have children because there's already too many humans in the world.
All this made sense when it was important for us to procreate for our survival. But now, for our survival, we have to not procreate. And we have to change and rewire our biology and our culture.
But it turned out in just a few years that this was all completely nonsense. And instead of having the world population continue to grow at a rate we can't control, it's going to be the opposite situation, a population crash. And you see, a population decline isn't so dangerous because of the end result. It's the journey countries have to take to get there. And this journey is truly horrifying and something that world leaders need to pay more attention to. This is a population pyramid, a chart.
No. The world leaders don't need to pay more attention. The world leaders are the puppets who are implementing the depopulation all over the world. Oh, yeah. Well, all right. So, our population, and for this country, I've said this for many years, I don't think we even are 300 million. They keep saying 330 million. 3-3, oh. I don't think we're even 300 million of Americans. Leave out the millions of illegal migrants. Yeah, it's, all right, I'll post the link again. Yeah, go over and support Tony Punch. So, we've got a lot of violence going on, as you all know, and I know a lot of you think some of it is staged, and, oh, you're just, focusing on all of the dark stuff. We've got a lot of dark stuff, and I've always focused on what our problems are, because what is not a problem doesn't need to be fixed. So, now I focus on this to bring to your attention, and I do it often, to let you know that we're already looking at violent chaos. It's only going to get worse. I think you all know that. Cities and in rural areas, it's going to get worse. So July 4th weekend in Chicago, at least 87 shot, 16 fatally in citywide holiday weekend gun violence. Oh, YouTube, you are crap these days, man. You are just such shit. So is Verizon. Alright, so I'll put the link in if you want to listen to this, but things are getting very out of hand. Very out of hand. What crap is this? Violent attacks plaguing Santa Monica. When I lived in Santa Monica in the 70s. Wow, man. It never crossed your mind. But, 50 years is not a long time in terms of the changes that we have seen in our country. They certainly, the changes came about very swiftly and accelerated the swiftness of those changes annually since 9/11/2001. But these changes have been going on for decades. But the violence, Santa Monica, great place in California. Not anymore.
Trash on the beach in Santa Monica is blindsided by an unknown assailant who left him beaten, bruised, and unconscious on the sand. It is just the latest in a series of violent random attacks in a local beach community.
KTLA's Mary Beth McDade live in Santa Monica for us tonight. Mary Beth.
Yes, and Mike and Cher, some of the residents that we spoke to say that this is the worst that they've ever seen the crime and that something needs to be done. Now, as far as that man that you're talking about who was left battered and bruised, well, that happened right out here on the sand near Tower 25, and we caught up with him and he tells us that he feels lucky to be alive tonight.
All of a sudden, I was unconscious.
Josie Peters says a man wearing all black, including a dark mask and baseball hat, came up behind him Saturday night on Santa Monica Beach around 6:30 and knocked him out with a big wooden rod. The attack happened near Tower 25 while Peters was in the middle of cleaning trash off the beach like he has every day for the past 17 years.
This guy hit me on the side of the head with a staff, a martial arts type staff, knocked me unconscious, and from witnesses who saw this, they said he was just wailing me while I was asleep on the beach.
Peters describes the suspect as a Hispanic man about 5'9", with a big nose piercing that was sticking.
Well, maybe, just maybe, it was one of those illegal migrants that drive boats right up to the beaches in California and jump right on, off, run up the beach, and run through the streets. Intense confrontation after man allegedly refused to let others rescue dog in water. People are flipping out of their minds.
Guidus says it was a horrific sight.
Saw a man kick his dog into the bag.
Video from Only in Dade shows Jadee as she quickly ran over and saw the dog struggling to swim in the Brickell Key Bay.
He handed me his phone and said, "Video me. I do this all the time. It's part of my show." And so my reaction to that was absolutely not. The dog is struggling.
Video shows her pleading with the owner of that dog, who appears to be standing watch, stopping anyone from coming to the pup's rescue.
The man got irate, I think, as you can see from some of the videos from some of the other bystanders, got pretty aggressive. He pushed another man that tried to intervene. He pushed me to the ground.
That's when Jadi made the decision to jump in and help.
I was a lifeguard, a competitive swimmer, so I jumped in and tried to get to the dog, and as soon as I jumped in, the man jumped in after me.
It took 3 men to pull Jadi out of the bay, water she says isn't safe for people or pets.
There's tons of boat traffic. We've seen sharks in the bay. We've seen there's crocodile warnings all around Brickell Key. So in no scenario did this make any sense.
She's trying to help me. Your dog is drowning you.
Eventually, she says that the owner allowed 3 men to help pull the dog out to safety. Miami PD says right now no arrests have been made.
Jadi says she is still working with police during this investigation. Meanwhile, Miami PD says that the dog was taken out of the water safely with no injuries. They ask that if anybody has video of this incident.
Well, I don't think that that person should ever have a dog. Yeah, so he throws his dog into the water, and it's part of his show. Do you see how mentally deranged an awful lot of Americans are? They are mentally deranged. Crazy. Oh, they think that they're absolutely fine. Crazy. 2-month-old found not breathing in Sacramento dies at hospital. They want to know why this 2-month-old was not breathing. But this 2-month-old was found on the street in Sacramento. And I think I listened carefully. I don't think that they say we'd like to know why the 2-month-old was abandoned on the street. Oh, okay.
Turning now to Sacramento, where police are investigating the death of a 2-month-old baby. Police say just after 3:30 yesterday afternoon, officers responded to reports of an unresponsive baby near El Camino Avenue and Truxell Road. First responders provided medical aid. The baby was transported to an area hospital where they died. Detectives and crime scene investigators were called out to take over this death investigation. And right now they're trying to determine how this 2-month-old baby stopped breathing. They are asking anyone in the public with information to please come forward.
I'd like to know who abandoned that baby. Don't you think that that is an important piece that they might have reported on the news? Just toss dogs over, toss babies. We have a lot of abandoned babies, not just abandoned dogs, abandoned babies. Yeah. American exceptionalism. HOA in Arizona forcing teen who lost both parents weeks apart out of a 55-plus community.
We've been following all week long a senior community kicking out a teen after both of his parents died, saying that teen can't live with his grandparents. ABC 15's Adam Waltz digs into the legality of the HOA's claim.
I've stepped in things that I find nicer than you people.
An understandably angry Prescott grandmother, Melody Passmore, taking in her 15-year-old grandson, Colin, whose parents died just 2 weeks apart. However, the HOA at the Gardens at Willow Creek had other ideas, sending a letter to the Passmore saying Colin has to go.
Just seems so heartless.
ABC 15 sharing the story that soon went viral. Now we're taking action, looking into the legality of the HOA's claim, something not unfamiliar in Arizona.
They were threatening to not only kick him out, but kick out the grandparents.
Youngtown, Arizona was the nation's first age-restricted community. In the 90s, when a teen was taken in by his grandparents in a hardship situation, Youngtown attempted to kick them out. The then Attorney General stepped in.
And he was shooting baskets into the night outside in the driveway. And a lot of these oldsters didn't like that.
Woods sided with the family, finding that Youngtown didn't file their age restrictions correctly, and the kid was able to stay with his family.
It seemed to me that the right thing to do is to show a little compassion.
The Fair Housing Act protects homebuyers from discrimination, including age discrimination, but senior living communities have etched themselves a little loophole. One of the reasons senior communities can get around this is if at least 80% of the homes are occupied with somebody 55 or older. Former AG Grant Woods says in this Prescott case, he favors compassion over the rule book.
What would you want him to do? Turn him away? Oh, I'm sorry, you have to go live on the streets because we live in a 55 and older community. When a tragedy strikes a family in your community, I would think that these old people who live there would walk over and say, how can we help?
A lawyer for Gardens at Willow Creek issued a statement saying they are working with lawyers for the family. According to their CC and Rs, the HOA's board can also make an exception and let Colin stay. Woods also saying that he would be willing to volunteer his time to mediate the situation free of charge. Adam Waltz, ABC 15.
You would think, right? In such a country filled with so many good, compassionate people that they would go and say, how can we help? No, we're going to make life tougher for you. We're going to really come at you. Holy shit. I don't understand. I'll never understand. Never. Never. Oh, I'm going to post a link to Starkey Farmstead. She's talking about rural Louisiana and how much crime they're facing in rural Louisiana.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Starkey Farmsteads. My name is Sam. I've got a really unique video for you guys tonight. I wanted to share a little bit about where I live and tell you why that's important. I live in a small town located in St. Helena Parish, Louisiana. It is a farming community. We have beautiful soil. We get a decent amount of rain. It's extremely rural in the sense there's only 23,000 people living in my community. That's the entire parish, which is a county for most of you. Now, the unique thing about my parish is the amount of deaths by murder or unexplained deaths, okay? We have a lot of people go missing. A lot of people are found dead in the woods around where I live. For many years, we've just had an inadequate police department, okay? Very few officers, not well trained. There's no funding.
Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. All right, well, the link is in the chat. Maybe it will play for you. Maybe. Bronx boys shot at McDonald's were targeted. So much violence. And, you know, just if I were to collect all of the news reports on how much violence is going on just in our country, it would be eye-opening. It's gonna get worse. Hand signs galore. Ugh. Okay.
And police are still on scene at this McDonald's along White Plains Road. We saw officers inside speaking with McDonald's employees and collecting evidence after 2 young boys were shot inside this McDonald's just before 10 p.m. last night. Now, according to police, a 12-year-old boy was shot once in the leg and once in the back. Also shot a 13-year-old boy. According to police, he was struck in the thigh. Officers arriving to the scene shortly after. Both boys were rushed to Jacoby Medical Center in stable condition. No word on what led up to this shooting or if there are any suspects at this time. We do know it took place inside the McDonald's at the corner of White Plains Road and Allertown Avenue about an hour before closing time. And police sources say the 2 boys were the intended targets.
I was born in Jacoby Hospital. Kids are getting shot, kids are shooting other people, adults getting stabbed and shot, 4 killed, 3 injured in Northern Kentucky mass shooting.
We begin with that breaking news out of Florence that's been developing all day. 4 people are dead, 3 others are in the hospital after they got shot around 2 o'clock this morning. This happened during a 21st birthday party. Florence police confirmed the shooter died from
Nothing like watching yourself go down. Link is in the chat. Another mass shooting. There's mass shootings every single day now. And, you know, I'm just going to link to this. I can't listen to this again. You know, this kind of screaming that goes on with, you know, Americans. And look, it's very upsetting because this woman apparently was driving with some dead person with her. You know, you see things and you're like, how could this possibly happen? Well, we have an awful lot of people on psychiatric medications. We have an awful lot of people who are addicted to drugs. We have a very, excuse my French, fucked up population of people. And some look quite fine. Some live in nice homes. And you'd never think it. Get close to them. And the amount of schools that are closing down, and parents are just being told last minute, and then they have to figure out where, well, in this case, their daughters are going to be, where they can get them into a school.
The summer project some high school students in the Bronx were expecting.
That's right. They're now forced to search for a new school after the sudden announcement that the St. Barnabas High School will not reopen come fall. Fox 5's Teresa Priolo has their story.
It was a shock. They sent me my summer reading. I was about to buy the book, and then the next day I got an email that they're closing in the morning. It was really a shock.
1 minute, the girls of St. Barnabas High School in the Bronx are prepping for summer reading. The next, they're searching for a new high school.
I'm trying to get into any of the schools that are closer by in the neighborhood because this was just so convenient for everybody.
After 100 years, SBHS is shutting its doors, telling parents in a letter it's the result of declining enrollment and donations and a rise in operating costs. That alone is upsetting. Adding insult to injury, it came without warning.
I got the notice last week. Like last week Friday, and it was emailed to me and I was shocked.
We've paid fees for September. We've thought we were set with our children coming to school, and obviously we're not.
According to those connected with the high school, the school's been battling financial issues for years, some of it due to economic hardship, some not. But parents were given no option, no alternative, and no notice.
It's very sudden, so you got to scramble to try to decide what another school's going to be for her.
I just wish we would have known they were in financial trouble, and we could have raised money, tried to get help.
There's now a change.org petition circulating to keep SBHS open. The school served roughly 190 students and had a faculty of about 12. It is one of the most affordable all-girl Catholic schools in the Bronx, and it's in a safe neighborhood. The school says they'll help transition students, but there's no guarantee other schools will have space, let alone check all the other boxes.
It's going to be a little rough, and we just got to see how it all pans out. We got to take it as it comes and just deal with it.
Although St. Barnabas is a Catholic school, it's not run by the diocese. It's run by a board of trustees, and yet the diocese said they will still help the students here find another high school.
Oh, how sweet of the diocese. America is not prepared for this onslaught happening at the border. I agree. You have an awful lot of, I guess, the keyboard warriors. Yeah, just wait. Just wait. Just wait until they come at me. Thinking that they're going to survive what's coming at them. Good luck.
The name of the video is America is not prepared for this onslaught happening at the border. Let's check it out.
Illegal immigrant charged with two NYPD officers at point-blank range is indicted on 20 charges. And prosecutors say he's admitted to being in a Venezuelan gang and that Tren de Aragua members are smuggling firearms into city shelters in food delivery packages. That way they don't have to go through the metal detectors. Joining us now is Joseph Humeyer, Executive Director of the Center for a Secure Free Society and a visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Joseph, it's great to have you on today. Tell us what the American people should know about Tren de Aragua.
So Tren de Aragua was basically a prison gang that was in Venezuela that around 2017 started to spill all over South America. And they many countries, exactly what they just did in New York, they did in Chile, they did in Peru, they did in Colombia.
Right. All of the surrounding.
They actually became known for attacking police officers. It's something that they kind of like a badge of honor for many of their members. But then in 2020, 2021, they began to move north. And that's when the push came to the U.S. southern border. One of the things that I think is important to understand about the Tren de Aragua is the reason that they have a lot of so much impetus to do these kind of very aggressive maneuvers is because in Venezuela, they've always had some kind of indirect support from the Venezuelan regime. So to me, very, very clear to be able to say that they are not only a transnational criminal organization, perhaps the fastest growing one in the world, but they're also potentially a state-sponsored transnational criminal organization that gives them the sort of impetus to do these kind of bracious violence acts like attack police officers.
Bro, the fact that he just said that the Venezuelan government is basically backing them in some way, at least, or maybe turning a blind eye, someone in the government most likely is getting paid, right, to just turn a blind eye. The fact that that's also happening, like state-sponsored, is scary, very scary.
And that's coming here to the cities of the United States.
So you said they started moving north around 2021. Obviously, that's when Joe Biden took office. So our border was open. They were able to make their way up. I've always wondered this, and we've talked about this on the show before. I mean, Donald Trump talked about the prisons being opened in Venezuela in particular, and then being emptied, and these gang members coming out. Our intel had to know that was happening, correct?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, when President Trump said that, oftentimes, like many times before, the media ridiculed him. They said that that's not true. That's an exaggeration. They looked at it like a conspiracy theory. But if you had been paying attention to Venezuela, like I do, like my center does, it was obvious. The prisoners have been controlling the Venezuelan prisons since about 2009. They actually gave over the prisons to the prisoners in a system where the prisoners are the wardens. It's called prenatos. And so that whole system collapsed, and basically all the prisoners started fleeing out of the country, much like many Venezuelans, and then they started to push north. And so that information was obviously available to the U.S. intelligence services. Our partner intelligence nations, intelligence services and other partner nations also had this information, but the U.S. either did nothing about it, choose to ignore it, or just wasn't prepared for that kind of onslaught.
Guys, that definitely sounds like treason. Like, if you're openly allowing these individuals to come in, like, you have the information knowing, and you know that there's even a potential that we can be now hit with an influx of people coming from specifically that region, right? You should be at the very least attempting to better search everyone, get more information on every single person that's coming through. Just don't allow everyone to come in. It brought me back to one thing here. He just said, again, back to the state-sponsored issue here. If you've seen...
They're state-sponsored here. They are state-sponsored here. When you're not vetting, and you know Venezuela, prison gang, opening up their prisons, sending their prisoners across the border, that is state-sponsored by the U.S. government. Oh yeah, it is treason. 100% treason by our entire federal government, but as well state and local governments. But we're not doing anything about it. So, don't cry when the hell comes to you. All bills are due in a blink of an eye. Oh, there are so many rants on inflation. But here, this is an interesting one.
I'm going to be mad as hell if I pass away and I realize that nobody goes to hell. You talking about this whole entire life, I could have been stealing, a could have been lying, a could have been getting over on some motherfuckers. I've been living a virtuous life for nothing.
Come on, man. Come on.
Hell no, some
Good.
gotta go to hell. I gotta see some burn in hell. I don't give a damn. I ain't gonna just be good for nothing. There gotta be some added benefit going there. Cause if I die and I figure out there ain't no heaven or hell, I'm gonna be pissed like a...
Hey guys, welcome.
So, there is no benefit from being good except for your own soul. None. You get squashed, you get ridiculed, you get turned away, you get rejected, you get, shit from people. You live a very hard life. When you actually live the principles that you say that you value and you have, you get screwed up the wazoo. So, yeah, it's, there's more. I'll link below. But just listening to what people are going through, it's just horrendous, man. People are really hurting. Here, I'm gonna just leave the link for you, and you can click on it and watch. People are living in storage units now. Inflation rant.
Yeah, that sounds crazy, right? But it's getting so bad that now we have people literally living in storage units. And so, yeah, we about to check out the video. All right?
I heard people living in they renting out storage units and living in them. How things looking, like this rent going up so high. I think we all gonna end up living in storage units.
Now to a sign of the housing crisis. People are turning storage units into living quarters.
I left this Viking unit unlocked for a few days and somebody started to put items inside. It was kind of random, but it was almost like somebody was trying to live inside the unit.
So in here I've got my TV, entertainment center set up there. I've got my bed. I've got my kitchen area over there.
I finally completed my project of moving into a storage unit. I really like the way it turned out. I was able to hang the things I needed to hang.
Sometimes tenants try to live in their storage unit. Tonight I had to go down to my storage facility after hours to remove somebody from the property because they were trying to stay in their unit again. This isn't the first time that I've had to go down after hours to talk with them.
What's up, y'all? Before we get started, we got to do the YouTube stuff. Now, the goal this time is 500 subscribers by the end of the month. And the only way I'm going to get to my goal is with your help. So I'm going to need y'all to give me that HBO special. If you don't know what the HBO special is, that's a Help a Brother Out special. All you got to do is like and subscribe, and I'm one step closer to my goal. So I'm going to give you all a second to do that.
And I'm going to give you a link because, though I'm not a brother, I like people who are just starting out, listening to them and supporting them.
I bet. Now let's get started with this video. That's crazy. That's crazy, for real. And it's a grandma, bro. You got somebody's grandma living in a storage unit.
I ran an extension cord along the power cable up here.
This dude is creative.
And I sort of zip tied it up. So you can't really tell its power is going to my unit unless you are looking closely. So this is my unit here, and at the top of the unit you can see I have an antenna, and that's so I can get a cell signal inside the unit itself. Because
yo, how did my man's do all that without getting caught on camera? Like, he must have did that in the middle of the night. Security got to be asleep or something, because ain't no way he got away with literally zipping the cable all the way at the top, probably with a ladder. Like, bruh, creativity, 10 out of 10, for real.
Once you close the door, it drops all signal. I have a lock, which I've magnetized onto the door, so it looks like it's locked, even when it's not. And then when I actually do want to lock it, I can just use this lock or use another one down here and leave that one there. Alright, so let's take a look at the unit now. So in here I've got my TV, entertainment center set up there. I've got my bed. I've got my kitchen area over there, complete with a fridge, and my couch over here. Once you're inside here, you can close the door, and I've screwed on a latch here so that way you can close it and sort of lock it from the inside. I've also put a mirror up so you can see what you're doing. Up here I've got a toaster oven.
Yo, 10 out of 10, this man has created a studio storage apartment, and honestly it looks better than some people's homes. I can't even lie. Yo, keep it up. For real.
Sometimes tenants try to live in their storage unit. Tonight I had to go down to my storage facility after hours to remove somebody from the property because they were trying to stay in their unit again. This isn't the first time that I've had to go down after hours to talk with them. At this point I've already knocked on their door and told them they need to go. I'm waiting for them to come out of their unit so that way I can escort them off the property. Because I've already spoken to them staying in their unit before, they will be getting a call from me tomorrow and also a written notice saying that their lease is terminated in 14 days. Even though they were staying in their unit and I could immediately terminate their lease, I try to be kind and work with people, especially since they've always paid their rent and they're nice tenants. They just aren't following this rule. These tenants also happen to be homeless, so I will try to also help connect them with community services that can help them with shelter and food. I left this Vicky unit unlocked for a few days and somebody started to put items inside. It was kind of random, but it was almost like somebody was trying to live inside the unit. The 2 sets of beds were already here inside the unit that need to be thrown away. And snap, the job is a game. I got it all cleared out and it's ready to go for the next tenant that wants to rent it. This is an 8x.
Wow. All right, the link is in the chat. There's more. Yeah, this is what's happening to our fabulous country, right? Left and right labels don't mean anything anymore. Absolutely true. Neither does being called a racist, an anti-Semitic. They have so used all of these labels, the lefties, the righties, the right or for freedom. No, they're friggin' not. Yeah, the right. We've seen what happens with the right. Oh, wow. Freedom of speech? I thought you were for it, now you're against it. Whatever the individual's agenda is, that's all they care about. Principle, not so much.
I used to think you were a crazy right-winger, just like I'm sure a lot of people thought I was a crazy left-winger. Do you feel like those terms don't? I feel like those terms don't really mean anything anymore, because all the people who claim to be lefties, they've abandoned all their left-wing. They're not for my body, my choice anymore, because that was proven during COVID. It's not your choice; it's the government's choice. They're not anti-war; they're very pro-Ukraine war. They're very what's the other thing? So. There's freedom of speech. They're not for freedom of speech. They're for censorship. So that's the hallmark of authoritarianism and dictators. And so what do you make of the left wing becoming not anymore? And do you think those terms even mean anything?
I don't think the terms mean anything anymore. I think we are going through a very clarifying moment. And I think we're seeing that on the right, where we're recognizing these neocons are behaving like leftists. Do you believe in speech? Do you not believe in speech? And I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't think in terms, it's almost too myopic to think in terms of left and right and Republican and Democrat. And I think that the elites love that. And going back to that, they love a divide. They love us yelling at each other. And I think the truth is that those of us who are willing to pursue truth, we're in the same party. Those of us who believe in what it means to be an American, we believe in free speech, we believe in debate, we believe in the right to be wrong. I mean, these are things that are essential to fight for. So if that means I'm linking arms with someone who's traditionally a Democrat or a leftist, I don't care. Do you care about truth? Do we recognize that this country is in a full decline right now? And do we recognize that we hardly even have national security and national sovereignty, anymore? It's like we've just become a globalist super nation. And I think that is making allies, some strange bedfellows, as one would say, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we're breaking outside of these lines.
I mean, when you see people like, I try to tell people that Tucker Carlson did get fired for lying, right? He got in trouble when he started telling the truth about Syria, Ukraine, Big Pharma, COVID. That was the last straw when he told the truth about Big Pharma. And people don't realize this. They think that he got in trouble for lying about something, and now you see people like you and Julian Assange and Tucker Carlson and me. We're on the same page, which is so very bizarre to me.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. And I think that what we're seeing is that people are following those people. So the corporate system is dying. People have lost faith, and they see what happens. When you get rid of somebody like Tucker and you try to convince us that he's a bad guy, it's just not going to work. Yeah, I'm happy he's independent. I'm happy he's free. This is the best version of Tucker. I'm happy I'm independent. I'm happy that I'm free. I wake up every day and I'm excited and we're having fun because we're able to tackle the stories that we want to tackle without having to think about, I guess, corporate narratives, so to speak. So everything is happening for a reason. I believe God has his hand on us right now, and that in the end, I'm extremely optimistic. I do believe we're going to win. I think we're not even at the beginning. We're sort of at the middle of an awakening.
I wish I could agree with that, but maybe in 1,000 years from now.
Why do you hate Jews, and why? What's the big controversy over saying Christ is king? I don't understand. I don't get that.
That was made up out of thin air by Andrew Klavan. No one's ever heard the controversy over Christ is king. And the day I left, I guess he just was sort of like, well, we need to maybe make it seem like she's a bad person. Remember that time she said Christ is king last November? Yeah, that's the narrative. Let's get this girl out of here. Yeah, did you see this tweet she sent last November? And I love it because he was really selling it with his chest. He was like, when you spit that phrase at a Jew. I'm like, what are you talking about? Christ, what for Jew? Secondly, he is king. I mean, what do you want me to tell you?
It's like saying shalom.
Yeah, he tried to sell it, and he really brought it to the market, and I don't think the market bought it. And it was just, again, just a little petty way to kind of throw some dirt on me on my way out. But I don't care. I could care less. I genuinely wish the guy well.
Okay.
The weird tricks are more creepy, I think.
Well, listen,
her being a Christian is like numero uno for Candace Owens, and I have a lot of respect for her. So I guess I don't hate Christians. Link is in the chat. "36 years old, I have no friends." And this is an update from 3 years ago when he posted, "32-year-olds, I have no friends." Why are we seeing so many people posting on having no friends? Because people aren't real. People are disloyal. People lie. And a whole lot of people do not know who they are, so you can't really get close to them. There's always, this, you can only be superficial with people who don't know who they are and are not working on themselves to find out, right? Because who are you getting close to? If they don't know who they are, and you see through it, you know that. It's only when people do the work on themselves where you know that they stand firm in who they are. You see them. Not just are they talking a good game, but they're walking a good game. And they're solid human beings. Outside of that, you're at a loss. But I think there's a lot of people who are, talking, a lot of men who are talking about how, they've just given up on the idea of ever finding, a relationship with a woman. In fact, here, "Why Men Are Alone." I'm just going to play a few minutes of this. And people have become worse, not better. Every generation became less real than the previous generation. And we need real people in the world. If you're not around real people, you just can't connect. There's no connection. There might be a temporary connection, but you need the real solid human being that's consistent in their behaviors so that you can trust them, rely on them. They're going to be there. Where are they? There's an awful lot of people who are, you see these videos, and my God, here. So 3 years ago, he got close to 1.5 million views. I have no friends. You should see the amount of views that people have. This was just 3 weeks ago. He has 185,000. But when people are posting and the title is "I have no friends," it's amazing how many people are clicking on that video to watch it, which to me says there's an awful lot of people who want to hear someone that they think they can identify with. But here, "Why Men Are Alone," the ugly truth women don't want to hear. And I didn't listen to the whole thing, but what I listened to, I agree.
Inconvenient piece of fact, the first inconvenient truth here, is that less and less women are seen as attractive. This has to do with things like obesity. It has to do with things like a very extreme trend when it comes to looks. Several women are now typing things like, "I'm sorry you're not getting any, I'm sorry you're such a horrible person, and that you have such a horrible view of women," and all of that. Just keep writing that. That's okay. So that's the most sensitive part of the whole thing done with. Even more important, I think, is the attitude that we are seeing. Women these days, especially I will say young women, they have a certain attitude. And I think this comes from social media. A woman will post some pictures on Instagram or something like that, and they will have 100 men, I'm using that term in the widest sense possible, men who will write, "Oh, you're so beautiful," "Oh, you're so," just throwing compliments at some woman. It kind of props up that woman's self-image in an unhealthy way. What this does is that, and many other people have tried to explain how this works, but you get an unhealthy self-image based on your looks. That's not a good thing, and it also makes these women believe that since they are being complimented on constantly on social media, they should go for the high value men. But the thing with these high value men is that they have options. So they will pick and choose, and chances are that they will choose a woman who is feminine, healthy, mentally and physically healthy. So if you come there, I mean, with your face covered in piercings and blue hair and all of that, and I'm a strong, independent woman attitude, that high value man, he will probably not be attracted by that. And to those who are provoked by me saying that, I'm just telling you the truth here, okay? And you may not like that, but it is what it is. And anyone with an IQ higher than their shoe number will be able to understand that I am not saying here that I think we should go back to a time where the woman, she was in the kitchen and she was a servant to the man and she was obedient and all that. No, I'm obviously not saying that. But in this time and age where people get offended on purpose and they misunderstand on purpose, just let me make that very clear. And I want to add that I do believe that a lot of women, they have sort of given up on trying to find a good man, because they, on their side, they will probably see a lot of men as immature, that they're not masculine, that they're still boys. And I think that's a product of modern society as well. A result of, things that men are hearing all the time, that masculine qualities are bad and so on. So when that's all you're hearing, then why would you bother? Why would you bother being that masculine guy? Why would you bother? Why would you want that? If you believe in the lies, because those are lies that mainstream media are serving you. And there is also, of course, the legal system, which kind of gives men a bad deal if a relationship, especially a marriage, breaks up, as a man you're in a difficult position if that happens. And statistically, that happens quite often. You know, I kind of decided that I wasn't going to even try to get everything right in this video, because there are as many angles and perspectives on this as there are people. But I just wanted to add something to the discussion. And I wanted to say that, yes, I understand that there are people, there are men and women who have decided to kind of opt out of the whole thing. And I think that's very sad. And it shouldn't be like that.
No, it shouldn't be like that, and he's absolutely right, but it is like that. A whole lot of people are very lonely, and a whole lot of people have just given up. What a shame. What do you say? If people don't work on themselves, everything just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. The link is in the chat. You can listen to the last 3 minutes. You know, it just gets to the point where you have thoughts that life is just meaningless. It's just a joke. You know, all of the things that bring meaning to life have been just decimated. One thing that brings meaning to life, meaning to relationships, is living honestly and speaking honestly and being honest, truthful. We have very few people in the world that are like that. So I have another window that has been open for a while, and I can't go there. Why? Not Ukraine, but what's happening in Gaza, what's happening with Israel. It is way upsetting, and I don't want to see comments that will upset me even more. I really hate, and I see it every single day, and I don't talk to anybody about it, and it's horrifying. It's horrifying that there is so much evil in the world and so many people not screaming out. And I've gotten myself just, I've never been so quiet. A whole lot of that has to do with the fact that I don't know how to trust subscribers, considering my experience with them. That's unfortunate. And they don't care. They just go on and live their life. But they isolate people. They help to isolate people. Their ripple effect is horrendous. The liars. The liars. And again, I am more, and I have been, more concerned about the liars with the ordinary Americans than the mainstream media liars or the government officials who are lying. They're just going to lie. You would hope that you could find a community of trustworthy human beings so that you could connect with them on deeper levels. I haven't found it anywhere. So I will say this, I will link below to this video that Sabby says posted. Good commentary from Sabby on the interview with Piers Morgan and Roger Waters. Let me just see. Good night, Nell. Where are you? It's 3 a.m. Are you in the UK? I want to keep that window open because I want to post links once this live stream posts. But I do want to move this and just play. Look at Roger Waters. Well, why even go on Piers Morgan? He's such a joke. But I'm just going to play a few minutes and then come back and end the live stream.
Your apology.
Thank you.
Please don't do it again, Piers. Right. Most of the people of the world do not want the Israelis to continue in their inexorable course to the end of their extermination of the indigenous people of Palestine. That's all I'm saying. So something has to happen that is not that. So if you say there are two possible alternatives, a two-state solution, and that's been on the table, let us not forget, certainly since the end of the 67 war. And let's not go back into the old stuff about, oh, well, the Palestinians turned it down. No, they don't. That is a barefaced lie.
Well, Arafat did.
No, he didn't. That is a barefaced lie. I'm not going to argue the toss with you. I know it is. If you don't know it is, you haven't yet done the read.
Oh, I have, and I've actually interviewed people like Bill Clinton who were involved in it.
Bill Clinton? Dear God. Anyway, I won't go.
You would believe Arafat over Clinton?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah. Arafat's dead, sadly. But you see, this is what I.
Now we're going to skip ahead here just a second because we're going to go to the right to exist. I do want to skip ahead to that part here.
So if I can help swing any of those constituencies towards these people who believe in human rights, away from somebody like Starmer or Streetley, who don't believe in human rights, they just don't. You have to look at their record and you say, yes, you must speak.
So I understand that that you and many people share your view that they believe that Israel is perpetrating a genocide on Gaza. And you talk about wanting to eliminate the people of Gaza. But surely that clip that I played, when you talk about the Israelis having to go back to where they come from.
If they could apologize for what they do. Obviously,
no, Roger, let me ask a question.
Okay.
On that point of wherever you come from, back to Eastern Europe, wherever you come from, to tell 7 million people to go back where they come from, many people would view that as racist, and in the case of Israelis, to be anti-Semitic, something you've been accused of being. Now, do you understand why they would take it that way?
Absolutely, of course I do. We have to remember that most of the population of Israel are young, much younger than me, even younger than you, if such a thing was possible. And they have been pretty well brainwashed into believing that they are superior to the other people who live there. And I have to say, the thing about Eastern Europe or Northeastern Europe and the United States, they've tried to sell us this idea that somehow they are biblical people and that God has given them the land. That's what the Christian evangelicals believe.
Well, look,
all I'm saying is
Let me just pause here for a second because I don't want to forget this thought. something I want you to think about as well, what he's saying here. Notice that when Roger Waters brought up the part about supremacy, notice Pierce didn't push back. I noticed that during this discussion, he didn't push back on the supremacy part because, yeah, Zionism is a form of supremacy. Now, when we get to the biblical text, what you also have to know is that some of the people, particularly a lot of those that are in Netanyahu's cabinet, are not indigenous to the land. Some of the people have changed their names to make it seem like they are indigenous to the land. So Netanyahu's name is not Benjamin Netanyahu. So these are the kind of things that people need to look up. There's a reason why they won't allow DNA tests in Israel, because I'm pretty sure it would show you that a lot of those people are not indigenous to the land. A lot of them are from Europe. What it is, what it is. That's where you're from. That's where you're from. But this has been a front. I feel like Zionism has been one big, corrupt cult in a sense. And it's really been a way for the world to still allow and approve of some type of supremacy, even though there still isn't, Hitler is not alive, but you still do have parts of Nazism, because the reality is it's an ideology. So even though the leader died, that doesn't mean the ideology did not live on. Zionism, it's basically been like this front. And what kills me is that they will try to attach it to the religion. They will try to attach it to Judaism when those are completely two different things. And so now, because they're saying that to be anti-Zionist is to be anti-Semitic, now they can point fingers at Jewish people that are not Zionists, and they can call them self-hating Jews, which is ridiculous to me. But it's cult-like, and it's just weird. So the way that Zionism has been able to take a hold, not just in Israel, but in the world, and our politicians, with organizations like AIPAC, it's insane when you think about it. But the leaders that we have allowed it to happen. And the one that did try to stop it, didn't agree with it, was JFK. He was killed. To Charlotte's point, Benzian Milikowski, later Netanyahu, was born in Warsaw in partitioned Poland. Let's go on some more here.
They're not indigenous people, most of them. There are a few of the Jewish people who are citizens of Israel who are indigenous to the area. But back in the 19th century, that was only 7 or 8% of the population.
Can I respond?
Yes, of course.
So ancient Egyptian records mention Israel from 1213 BC. Religious literature records Israelites as far back as 1500 BC. As far as many Jewish people are concerned, this is where they come from. Right? Within Judaism, Israel is the Holy Land. It's the land where the faith began. Jerusalem is the holy city. For Jews, Jerusalem is at the core of their faith and their world. Now, I believe you're an atheist. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So you may not understand or accept that, but that is how millions of people in Israel feel. They believe this is their original holy land. Now,
you can believe a lot of things, though. I mean, I can believe, how far are we going to take this, though? I can believe that I have the right to this land in Brazil or whatever. That doesn't mean I do. And this is the dangerous part about this as well. Religion is a belief. Religion is not, it should not be law. But religion is a belief. You can choose to believe in Christianity. You can choose to believe the Bible. You can choose to believe in Buddhism. Like what? I mean, people have different religions, and some people don't believe in religion at all. So why are we taking a belief and transferring that into law? That's a big problem. I don't see this. I don't understand how this was allowed to even take place.
I think that the displacement of the Palestinians back in 1948 was appalling. I also think the simultaneous virtually displacement of many Jewish people from their homes was also appalling. All of it was appalling. And you can create a narrative that would be supportive of both sides and critical of the other sides. But there's no doubting that Jewish people believe this is their holy land too, in the way that many Palestinians do.
I haven't read that book, I admit, and I'm not sure I want to because I've only...
All right, I'm going to put the link in again. Yeah, well, people who have their beliefs and those beliefs are facts cause an awful lot of damage. Now, let's look at... Oh, it's hitting... It's right on the coast now of Texas. And look at these supercells. Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, oh my God, Iowa. Dangerous. We have a dangerous environment. Now, due to incredibly evil people. All right, you guys in Texas, Louisiana. Oh, I'll be watching. I sure hope that none of you have to suffer any hardship. Any hardship. So, Kim, I'll be thinking of you. I'll be thinking of you and a whole lot more. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm a nervous wreck. Ever since Friday when they had the insurance people over and they talking about gutting the house and having to move for 3 to 6 months, and I'm done. We didn't hear anything. It's weekend, but we may hear something tomorrow or Tuesday, and I am really It's too much. Yeah. When this kind of stuff happens over and over and over again, the strong can become weak. So, live honestly and speak honestly. Think about what you're doing to other people. Don't cause people a whole lot of hardship or emotional turmoil. Can we somehow come together, you know? I'd love to see it. Be safe, be prepared, and good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.